He said it didn't mean anything. But that night, when his hand found mine under the blanket, he held on like he'd been waiting forever. My heart knew the truth long before he said a word. He cared about me, he just couldn't show it. Not with my brother sleeping only 6 feet away. Welcome to my channel. Today's story is about someone I was never supposed to love, my brother's best friend. I never planned to fall for Leo Reed. He was the kind of guy who made everything look effortless, smirking through math class, catching passes on the football field like he was born for it. And he was always around because he'd been my brother Beau's best friend since middle school. At first, that's all he was, Beau's loud, confident, messy friend. The one who left chip crumbs on the couch and walked into our house without knocking. But something changed last summer. Suddenly there was this quiet tension between us. He stopped treating me like Beau's annoying little brother. He started seeing me, not as a joke, not as invisible, but as someone who mattered. I remember the exact moment everything shifted. It was July at Lake Crescent, just me, Beau, and Leo. My parents were away, so we spent the weekend at our family cabin. That night, Beau fell asleep early, one headphone still in his ear. Leo and I stayed up, half watching an old horror movie. The room glowed in soft blue light from the TV. Then, somewhere between a cheap jump scare and opening another soda, he said quietly, "You're not like how I remember you." I looked at him. "What do you mean?" He smiled a little. "You've changed. You're older now, calmer. You don't try so hard anymore. It suits you." I wanted to joke back, but my chest was tight because this was Leo. Leo who always laughed everything off. Leo who dated effortlessly, who seemed untouchable. Leo who I was never supposed to feel this way about, but I did. And when our fingers brushed beneath the blanket, he didn't pull away. He held on, like that moment was the only thing keeping him grounded. Neither of us spoke. The TV hummed. Beau snored softly in the next bed. And still, we sat there, fingers tangled, pretending we didn't feel the current running between us. My heart was racing, but I wasn't afraid. For the first time, I felt truly seen. The next morning, it was as if nothing had ever happened. He didn't mention it. Didn't meet my eyes the same way. Didn't reach for me again. I told myself I must have imagined it, that maybe I wanted it so badly, I convinced myself it was real. But 2 days later, when we got home, my phone lit up. A message from him. Just one line. That night meant something. I stared at those words for hours. I didn't reply, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know what to say. This wasn't just some passing crush. This was Leo, my brother's best friend, the one person I was never supposed to feel this way about, and I didn't know if that message was the start of something real, or the beginning of a mistake that could change everything. The next few weeks blurred together. Late at night, he'd send short messages. "I keep thinking about you. I can't stop replaying that moment." I don't know what this means. The truth was I didn't either. All I knew was that I felt everything, and it terrified me. At school, he was still Leo, the easygoing football guy, loud and confident as always. But in those quiet moments when Beau wasn't paying attention, his eyes would find mine. Like he was trying to tell me everything he couldn't bring himself to say, and I hated that I started living for those stolen looks. That when I'd walk into the kitchen and see him sitting there with Beau, my heart would tighten, waiting for his eyes to meet mine. Not because I was scared he'd ignore me, but because I was scared he wouldn't. I tried to act normal, to pretend nothing had changed. But every time he came over, every time he sat too close or brushed against me like it meant nothing, my world shifted a little more. I knew we were heading toward something we couldn't undo, and I didn't know if I wanted to stop it, or if I even could. There's a kind of tension that never really goes away. It sits heavy in your chest like a knot that won't come loose. That's what being around Leo became. The more I tried to ignore it, the stronger it grew. Pretending we were just two ordinary people in the same room didn't erase what had already happened. Because once you've held someone's hand in the dark, you can't pretend you don't remember how it felt. 2 weeks after the cabin, his messages started slowing down. Not gone completely, just less and less. One day became 3, then 5, and finally silence. I told myself it was better this way. Maybe he realized it was just a fleeting moment, a feeling that couldn't last. Maybe he was scared Bo would find out, or maybe it had never meant as much to him as it did to me. I thought about deleting the messages, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Then one afternoon, I walked into the house and saw him sitting on the kitchen counter, laughing at something on Bo's phone like nothing had ever happened. He looked up mid-laugh. For half a second, his smile slipped, just a flicker, but I saw it. Then just as quickly, it was gone. He nodded at me like I was some kid from school. "Hey, man," he said. That's all. "Just hey, man, and I wanted to scream." Instead, I turned to head upstairs, pretending I didn't care. But then I heard his voice behind me, quieter, softer. "Jasper, can we talk?" I froze. My heart didn't. Bo had already gone into the garage. Leo stood there, eyes darting to the door, then back to me. "Just real quick," he said. I followed him outside. The air was still. The sunlight felt too bright. Everything looked normal, but nothing felt that way. He didn't speak right away. Just shoved his hands into his hoodie pocket and stared down at the grass. "I've been thinking a lot," he muttered. I waited. About what we did, or what we're doing. He let out a rough breath. "This is all messed up, man." "Yeah," I said quietly. "Because of my brother. Because of everything." He nodded, eyes heavy. "You, me, him. People talk. People assume. My dad would lose it if he knew I was even." He stopped himself. He didn't have to finish. If his dad knew he was even into guys, if he knew he was into me, finally Leo looked up. "The thing is," he said, voice shaking a little, "I think about that night every single day. It's stuck in my head. I've never felt anything like it before, and it scares me. There it was, real, messy, honest." I swallowed hard. "I don't want to be your secret, Cam." He flinched. "I'm not trying to make you one." "Yeah, but that's exactly what this feels like," I said. "We only talk when no one's around. We touch when no one's looking. And the second my brother walks into the room, I disappear." He stepped closer, eyes searching mine. "That's not true." "It feels true." Silence. His jaw tightened. He looked torn, like he wanted to punch the wall or fall apart completely. "I just don't know how to do this, Jasper," he said finally. "I don't know how to be this version of me in front of everyone. I've spent years pretending to be someone else. And you," his voice broke, "you make it impossible to keep pretending." That line hit me like a brick. You make it impossible to keep pretending. We didn't touch that day. Didn't hug. Didn't kiss. But I saw the war in his eyes. One part of him wanting to run, the other already halfway in love with me. A few days later, Bo's birthday came around. Another pause. Then Bo said quietly, "You'd tell me if something was up, right?" Leo laughed, too fast, too light. "Yeah, man." "Of course," Bo didn't respond. Just took a long sip of his drink. The porch light caught his face for a second, and I saw it. That look he gets when he's trying to solve a problem. I stepped back from the stairs before they could notice me listening. My pulse was pounding. The next morning, things felt off. Bo barely looked at me. Leo didn't come over. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't get a text. By Sunday night, I couldn't take it anymore. I called him, no answer. Tried again. Straight to voicemail. I was staring at my phone when Bo walked in. He tossed his keys on the table, eyes sharp. "You and Cam been hanging out a lot lately." My throat went dry. "He's your friend," I said. "He's always here." Bo tilted his head. "Yeah, but lately it feels different." There it was, the thing I'd been dreading. I forced a laugh. "You're imagining things." He studied me for a long moment, then just said, "Maybe," and walked off. But I knew from the way he said it. He didn't believe me. Bo Leo's voice trailed. "I don't know. You tell me." Something inside me dropped. I crept back upstairs before they noticed. I couldn't sleep that night. My chest felt tight. My brain wouldn't stop racing. What if Bo knew? What if he confronted me? What if he told our parents? At 2:04 a.m., my phone buzzed. Leo can't sleep, I replied instantly. Same. You okay? No, a beat later. Meet me. 10 minutes. Your back fence. I pulled on a hoodie and slipped outside. He was already there, leaning against the fence, looking like 1,000 words were stuck in his throat. We didn't talk at first. Just stood in the dark. His shoulders sagged, his eyes heavy. I can't keep doing this, he finally said. I held my breath. Not like this. Not hiding. Not jumping every time your brother looks at us too long. I want to be able to look at you. Talk to you. Without my voice shaking, I swallowed hard. Then what are you saying? He stepped closer, voice cracking. I'm saying I'm ready to stop pretending. But if we do this, if we really do this, I need you to be all in too. I nodded slowly. I already am. He exhaled like the words were oxygen. And then, finally, he kissed me. Really kissed me. Not in the dark, not hiding under a blanket, but right there beneath the stars. Crickets sang. The wind brushed through the trees. The world spun on around us, and for one perfect moment, it felt like it belonged only to us. But peace never lasts. Not when secrets are about to break. 2 days later, Beau found my sketchbook. The one I always kept buried in my bottom drawer. I'd left it out just once. That morning, I'd been sketching, a quick drawing of Leo, just his face. Half-finished, shaded, personal. I forgot to put it away. Beau found it while searching for a charger. I walked in to see him holding it, staring at the page, expression unreadable. Is this Leo? My mouth went dry. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He looked at me, really looked. And I felt everything I'd been terrified of reflected back at me. Hurt, shock, confusion, betrayal. Are you with him? The silence between us said everything. Beau's voice wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was quiet, wounded, like the question had already answered itself the second it left his mouth. I couldn't lie. Not anymore. I didn't say yes. I didn't deny it. I just froze. Throat dry, hands trembling, while he held my sketchbook like it was something he wished he hadn't touched. His eyes dropped back to the drawing. He brushed his thumb across the page as if he could erase the truth with enough pressure. Since when? His voice cracked on the second word. Since the lake, I said. He blinked, then looked at me again. That long? I nodded. And you didn't think I deserved to know? That stung, because part of me had wanted to tell him so many times. But I knew this moment would always look like this. Messy, full of guilt, shame, and disappointment. You're my brother, Beau. And he's your best friend. What was I supposed to do? Just say, hey, by the way, I'm falling for the guy you grew up with. His jaw clenched. You should have trusted me. That landed like a punch because he was right. But what he didn't understand was, I barely trusted myself most days. How could I expect him to carry something I wasn't strong enough to carry alone? He handed me back the sketchbook and left without another word. I didn't see him for the rest of the night. Not at dinner. Not the next morning, but Leo. Leo showed up early before school. Unannounced. I was sitting on the porch steps, sipping cold coffee, heart still racing from the night before. He walked up, hoodie on, hands in his pockets, he knows. I nodded, yeah. What did he say? Nothing. That was the worst part. Leo sat beside me, close, but not touching. Do you regret it? I looked over at him. His face pale, tired, eyes red like he hadn't slept either. No, I don't regret you. He let out a breath, like he'd been holding it for weeks. Jasper. Then he reached for my hand. Right there in daylight, no hiding. No glancing over his shoulder. Just his hand in mine, I didn't pull away. I didn't check who might be watching. For once, I didn't care. That afternoon, Beau came home early. Leo was still over, helping me rearrange my shelves so I could finally hang my sketches. We froze. Leo stepped back instinctively. I hated that. Beau looked at both of us, expression unreadable. Can I talk to you? He was looking at Leo. Leo nodded, following him out to the porch. I watched from the window. It wasn't yelling. It wasn't fists. But it was intense. Leo kept looking down. Bo paced once, then stopped, hands on his hips like he was grounding himself. Then Leo said something. Just one sentence. And I saw Bo's whole body shift. When Leo walked off, I stepped outside. "What did you say?" I asked. Bo stood quiet for a moment. "He told me he loves you." My breath caught. He said he didn't plan it. Didn't even understand it at first. But it's real. He wasn't messing with you. Or lying to me. He's just been scared. We stood there, silence folding over us. Then Bo looked me dead in the eyes. "You know what pisses me off the most?" I braced myself. "It's not that you're gay. It's not even that it's him. It's that neither of you thought I could handle it." "That hurts," my chest tightened. "I just didn't want to lose you." His expression softened. "You didn't lose me, man. But damn, you made me feel like I didn't matter. That broke me a little." I stepped forward. "I'm sorry." "I really am," he nodded, swallowing hard. "I just need time. Not to be okay with it, I already am. But to wrap my head around the fact that my best friend's in love with my brother. That's new." We both half laughed. Awkward. Painful. But real. "He better not break your heart," Bo added. "He already has," I said quietly. "Then he better fix it." That night, Leo came back. We sat on the back steps again, knees touching, silence stretching between us. Then I turned to him. "You told him you love me?" He looked at me, unflinching. "Yeah, did you mean it?" He smiled, small, real, soft. "I didn't mean to fall for you, Jasper. But I did. Hard." I rested my head on his shoulder, and for once nothing about it felt like a secret. After Leo told Bo the truth, something in me shifted. Not just relief, not just hope, something deeper. For the first time, I wasn't waiting for the floor to drop. We weren't hiding anymore, but that didn't mean life got easier. At school, people talked. In small towns like ours, they don't forget. It started slow. A couple of stares in the hallway. A whispered, "Is that the Blake kid with Leo Reed?" One guy on the football team said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "So, you switching teams now?" Leo just stared at him. Didn't laugh. Didn't joke it off. Just said, "Say it again." "I dare you." No one did. But the silence after was just as loud. By the end of that week, Leo stopped getting invited to hangouts. People who used to chant his name every Friday night barely nodded at him. His teammates got awkward in the locker room. He started skipping lunch, eating alone in his truck, and I hated it. I hated that he chose me, and it was costing him everything. One afternoon, we were sitting in that same truck, parked under the bleachers. The sun dipped behind the trees, painting everything gold. The world felt like it was holding its breath. He didn't even look at me when he said it. "I don't know if I can keep doing this." My chest went tight. "You mean us?" He shook his head. "No, this place. These people. The weight of it all." He paused, eyes glassy. "I thought coming out would be this big freeing moment. But it just feels like I opened a door and now I'm standing in a storm." I didn't know what to say, because I saw it, the way he was breaking in slow motion, and I couldn't stop it. "I'm tired, Jasper." That sentence nearly broke me. Leo Reed wasn't the type to say that. He was the guy who pushed through everything. Until now. Later that night, Bo knocked on my door. He didn't say much, just walked in and sat on the edge of my bed. "You guys okay?" I shrugged. "Not really." He nodded slowly, then looked at me with something I hadn't seen in his eyes since this all started. Understanding. "You know," Bo said quietly, "Cam's always been the one who kept me out of fights. The one who covered for me when I wrecked Mom's car. The guy who sat with me at the hospital when I broke my wrist. He's been more than a best friend." I waited. "And if you're the person he's willing to lose everything for," Bo continued, "then I guess you're worth it." My throat closed. "He's worth it too," I whispered. Bo smiled, small and sad. "Then don't let him forget that." The next day was Friday, game night. Even though Leo wasn't starting anymore, he still suited up. Coach said something about team image, distractions, optics. But Leo showed up anyway. He laced his cleats, stood on the sideline, silent and steady. At halftime, the team was losing. Quarterback sprained his ankle. The crowd tensed. Coach looked like he was out of options. That's when Leo stepped forward. "Put me in." Coach hesitated. "You sure?" "I'm not quitting because people are uncomfortable." Coach nodded once. "All right, go." When Leo ran onto the field, the stadium went dead quiet. Not because he wasn't good. Not because he wasn't ready. But because they didn't know how to process him anymore. And there, Leo had changed. But he didn't flinch. Second throw, 40-yard pass. Next drive, he ran it in himself. Slowly, the crowd started to roar again. They had to remember how electric he was, how alive, how much he belonged. When he scored the final touchdown, he didn't raise his arms. Didn't pound his chest. He looked up at the bleachers, right at me, and smiled. It wasn't for them. It was for me. After the game, I waited by the back gate near the locker rooms. He walked out, helmet under one arm, sweat dripping down his neck. Before I could say a word, he dropped his gear and wrapped his arms around me, right there in the open. No hesitation. No fear. I heard a few people gasp. A couple clapped. One guy even shouted, "Let's go, Ray!" But I didn't care. In that moment, he chose me. Not in secret, not in darkness, but in front of the whole damn world. Later, we sat on the tailgate of Beau's truck, his head resting on my shoulder. "That was brave," I whispered. He smiled.
"So were you."
"You didn't run." "I would have if you hadn't grabbed my hand first." He laced his fingers with mine. "Then I'm never letting go." Some stories don't end with fireworks. They end with peace. With soft mornings. With no more hiding. And that's exactly what being with Leo became. Peace. After the game, things didn't magically get better. Not overnight. But everything changed that night anyway, because when he grabbed me in front of everyone, held me like he wasn't afraid anymore. He gave people permission to stop pretending too. Some still whispered. Some still stared. But others didn't, and that was enough. My parents took it better than I expected. Way better than Leo's. My mom cried a little. Not because she was upset, but because she was scared for me. "Are you happy?" she asked. I nodded. Then nothing else mattered. My dad didn't say much. But later that night, he came into my room, ruffled my hair, and said, "Cam's always been like a second son. Guess now he really is." That stuck with me. Leo's family wasn't the same. His dad stopped talking to him. Told him to figure his life out, to stop embarrassing the family name. His mom tried to play both sides, loving but silent, like she couldn't choose between her son and her husband. That broke him a little. He stopped sleeping, stopped smiling for real, until one night I found him in my driveway at 1:20 a.m., hoodie on, soaked from the rain, just standing there like he had nowhere else to go. I pulled him inside, dried his hair with a towel, wrapped him in a blanket. He sat there on the couch, head down, voice shaking. "Why is this so hard, Jasper? Why does it feel like I'm paying for something that should be good?" I sat beside him. Didn't answer right away. Then I whispered, "Because some people fear what they don't understand. But we're not here to make them comfortable. We're here to live." His eyes welled up. "I'm so damn tired of apologizing for who I am." I touched his face gently, then stopped. "You don't owe anyone anything." That night, he fell asleep in my arms. And when I looked down at him, messy, quiet, fragile, I realized I'd never loved someone like that before. Not just the good parts, but the broken corners, the weight they carried when no one else was watching. Beau came around more than I expected. He'd bring over food, crash on the couch during movie nights. Sometimes he'd even sit beside Cam and ask about school like nothing had changed. One night I asked him, "Why? Why are you being so cool about this now?" He shrugged, sipping his drink. "Because I know who Leo is. I know he's not using you. I know he'd take a hit for you before he let you fall, and because I trust you both." He paused, then smirked. "Also, it's hilarious watching the guy who used to flirt with anything in a skirt practically melt every time you walk into a room." I laughed. "So did Cam, but graduation came fast. We walked the stage. Threw our caps high. Leo kissed me behind the gym afterwards, still in his gown, grinning like a little kid. "You know what I want?" he whispered. "What?" "A future that doesn't feel like hiding." So we made a plan. Cam got into a college 2 hours away. I wasn't far behind. We didn't move in together right away. Gave ourselves space to grow, to breathe. But we stayed close. Shared weekends. Shared coffee in old diners. Shared slow Sunday mornings in his dorm bed with tangled sheets and no alarms. We kept sketchbooks. Mine was full of him. Half-drawn smiles, lazy eyes, freckled shoulders, and for the first time it all felt real, all of it. The messy, the quiet, the brave. The love we didn't have to hide anymore. His was full of words. Leo never used to write before, but now he did. Messy letters, late-night thoughts, little moments he didn't want to forget. One entry read, "He fell asleep on my chest tonight." I could feel his breath slow. I used to think love was loud and wild. But now I know sometimes it's quiet, safe, like the world finally stopped spinning. I cried when I read that one. One summer night, back at the lake where it all began, we lay on the dock, staring up at the stars. The water lapped gently beneath us. The same sky, but everything had changed. Cam turned his head toward me. "Do you ever wish we could go back?" I thought about it. All the fear, all the pain, all the almosts. Then I shook my head. "No, because back then we were pretending." "No, we're real," he smiled softly. "I like real." And in that moment, his hand in mine, summer air around us, stars above, peace inside, I knew he was never just my brother's best friend. He was my first love. My safe place, my choice, and I would choose him again. Every time I didn't plan to fall for him. But I would do it again in every lifetime. If you made it this far, please subscribe for more real stories like this one. You being here means everything. Love.